the walls makes the home more energy efficient. So Danielle's back now with more tips, which will also reduce your carbon footprint.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about something that you're calling the passive house, and it's a house that sort of works naturally to preserve whatever heat is coming into the home. We've got a picture of that now, sort of a graphic, and you can see how it might work. So the sun's out.
Yes.
The house is doing what it needs to do, because it's been built to sort of work with the natural elements.
Exactly. So I'm actually doing a project right now where I'm doing a new lake house for my sister and my brother-in-law.
Nice.
And I've been consulting with the architecture firm Kearns Mancini, and they are passive house experts.
Okay.
And so what we've done is we've actually, because we're building from scratch, we've been able to situate the building to take advantage of all of those solar gains. So we have actually maximized our southern exposure.
Okay.
And so that's going to capture all of that heat from the sun. And
Yes.
then once you do that, you want to make sure that the building envelope is not just going to dissipate that heat back into the atmosphere. So obviously, one of the biggest things is insulation. So massive insulation. So you can see this is a huge, thick, deep wall. It's filled with cellulose insulation, which is recycled paper. So yeah, you can, if you look closely, you can see writing still.
I know you can't see it at the top, but even over there. So,
absolutely.
So talk about leaving a very small footprint. You're literally reusing substances out there to create your insulation.
Exactly. It's a very green product. And so for example, so the R value is a rating system given to a material that talks about how its ability to resist heat transfer.
Yes.
So where local building practice might call for R21 in their walls, this one, for example, is R58. So you're really amping it up there.
That's great.
And I will tell you, I knew that these things were going to help, but I experienced just how much the other day, because I was up north, and we still don't have heat in this building. And I thought, I'm going to be inside for 8 hours. I'm going to freeze. So I put my parka, my snow pants on, and we get inside, and it is toasty warm in there.
Really?
And I'm like, did you guys, I asked them, you know, did somebody rent a propane heater? They said, no, we had that little block heater. And that was enough. And I kid you not, when the idea behind a house like this is that you almost do not need an external source of heat or cooling, even in an extreme climate.
That is incredible. So you're really harnessing.
For real.
You're harnessing those natural resources.
Yes.
So insulation is
the big one.
Yeah.
Window technology is huge. So you definitely want to have most of your windows on, in this hemisphere, the southern exposure.
Yes.
And they ought to be triple pane. And ideally, you don't want to have any thermal bridges. Now, a thermal bridge would be any material that goes from the inside continuously to the outside, and that can like whisk all your heat. So you want to have that thermal break. So having a thermal break or no thermal bridges, that is another very important passive house. So
it traps heat. Does it trap cool?
It can. So here's the thing. So you also need an energy, a passive sort of heating technology. So that's called an HRV or an ERV, energy recovery ventilator. And what happens is, in the same way that in the cold days you want to trap all that sun when the sun is low, when it's like the heat of the day in the summer, the design should actually be shading the house from that high heat. Like if you've ever gone down south, all those thatched roofs, they come and they physically block, so you're not sitting there in the heat of the day just like baking.
That's true.
So like it's kind of age-old principles, really.
Yes.
So yeah.
So depending on the climate you live in, people have been doing it naturally, and you can see that in the construction. It's just we need to be a little bit more intentional about doing that in whatever climate we're living in. So if you're in a cooler climate, you got to be a little bit more intentional about getting that heat trapped in. Not all of us can build our house so that from scratch, but you can use some of the insulation ideas and the windows. Anything else that you want to think about?
Insulation, windows, you want to create an airtight seal. And that's very important as well. And that can be done in a number of ways, but again, that just traps all that heat in there. And then the very important machine is that heat recovery ventilator, and that is constantly pumping out all your stale air, your humidity, and bringing in fresh air. And at the same time, it's still retaining all the thermal energy. So it's like, it's just this no-brainer to me, because in a lot of ways, it's common sense. But,
It'll save you money too.